Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Sri Tips here. What I've got in this beaker is some gold alloy from my previous video called Dissolving Silver with Molten Gold. And what we're going to do now is we're going to process this silver. I've got a brand new nitric acid delivery device that I'm dying to try out. And what we've got in here is an alloy that is about 26 or 27% pure gold alloyed with silver from that previous video. I will put a link to it in the description section of this video. Due to the small size of my fume hood, what I'm going to have to do is pull this device out, this apparatus that I've made, and set it down here so that I can charge it up with acid. And the only way to do it, since it's such a tight fit in my fume hood here, is to pull the whole thing out like so. Alright, I just wanted to show you a little bit about this thing. This is a separatory funnel, 500 milliliters, that I'm using as an addition funnel. And what I've done is I've got a piece of 1/2 inch PVC here, and it fits down over the steel rod on our ring stand here, and it'll protect the metal. I didn't want to put that thing in the fume hood with the reaction because those fumes would dissolve this. So that's why I made this. It's a wrench. I bought this wrench at Ace Hardware. It's for getting in a water softener or a water filter or something. But it's made out of PVC, plastic. And then I used liquid nails to glue the PVC in here. It's good and sturdy. And then I've got a little joint here that I put on the bottom of this. And I've got another piece of PVC, and just join those together, and then we can put it down over the ring stand and get the correct height that we need. Okay, to get this thing all set up, what I'll do is make sure that the stopcock valve is off, and we'll go ahead and I'm going to fill that funnel with 68 to 70% nitric acid. Here we go. I made that PVC ring a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, and never used it. Then the idea came to me to use it with a nitric acid delivery device, because it would be nice and acid resistant. It'll probably come in more handy when I do a batch of gold-filled scrap, but I'm dying to try it here. Alright, let's set this thing up. I'm going to put a stopper in here so we don't splash acid. But the only way I know of to do this is to take the funnel here and put it in our device. And now what I got to do is with two hands carefully grab the base down here and tilt the funnel till we get it past the sash, and then just kind of slip it up in here like so. Get the camera adjusted here. Alright, that's in there. Got a brick here to act as a counterweight, keep it stable. I've got a delivery tube here. What I'll do now is slip that over the end of the funnel. And now what we'll do is I'm going to pour some distilled water in here, about 3/4 to 1 liter of distilled water. Now I'm going to add some nitric acid and start the reaction. About 100, maybe 150 milliliters. And just start pulling out all the silver that we added. We're going to put the reaction up here on some heat. Now we're going to add the delivery tube to our beaker. Get it up here on the heat. I'm going to put the lid on it. And we're going to turn the heat on and start this reaction. Over here I've got some electrolyte for my silver cell. You'll notice that there's some undissolved silver down on the bottom of this beaker, but there's no fume production inside that beaker. That means all the available nitric acid has been consumed, and that's what we want to see when we're making electrolyte. I'm going to reach up here and grab the stopper off of the funnel, and now what we'll do is we'll start a slow flow of nitric down into the reaction beaker in here. Add that nitric acid nice and slow. You can see we got a little drip going on in there, which is perfect. The advantage here is having the nitric delivery apparatus inside the fume hood rather than outside like I used to use it. And this will be a nice advantage when we go to do our next batch of gold field scrap. While I'm waiting for that nitric reaction, I'm going to come in and have a little lunch here. I eat this every day. Broccoli, cauliflower, cheese, olives, some tomato, green peppers, avocado. Don't get me wrong, I like my steaks on the weekend sometime, but I just wanted to include this in the shot. This is what Street Tips eats for lunch every day. This is time-lapse. It's about an hour's worth of footage condensed into a few seconds, and I just wanted to make that point one more time. This apparatus is not necessary for this refining. I just wanted to set it up and try it out to see if it was going to work as I envisioned it. That was about 400 milliliters of nitric that we added to our beaker. I'll begin by taking off the delivery tube here. Just kind of slip it off, and then what we'll do is put it down into this beaker, get it out of the way. Alright, let me get this electrolyte out of the way here. This is done. Okay, we've got silver in that solution back there, and what we're going to do now is pour off the silver that's in this solution into my silver jar here. This is one of them. This jar has chunks of sterling silver in it. And what we'll do is we're going to pour this solution off now into here. Okay, I'm going to reach in here and grab my beaker. And what we'll do is pour part of this solution off anyway into this silver jar here. Now we'll set the silver jar up here out of the way. Now I'm going to pull the nitric delivery apparatus down out of the fume hood now. Get it out of the way. This jar is full. So what I'm going to do now is bring up a second silver jar, start another one. I'm going to add some silver to it. Gonna start out by adding a little bit of distilled water to this second silver jar, maybe about a half a liter or so. This is sterling silver that I peeled off of some sterling silver knife handles from a flatware set. So we're gonna burn some of this now, and then we'll add it to our silver jar. I've already cleaned that silver up in my ultrasonic cleaner and steam cleaner, but I'm going to hit it with the flame here to burn off any impurities such as oil or grease. Okay, now I've got some silver in here. What we'll do is reach back and get our reaction beaker back here, and I'm just going to pour this silver bearing solution off into this jar now. And what I'm doing here is trying to capture any excess nitric that's in this solution and utilize it to dissolve the silver that's in this silver jar that we just burnt and added to it here. Watch the silver nitrate crystallize out on the beaker there as the solution evaporates away from it. Kind of a neat reaction there. See how it's forming like crystals on the beaker? Now what I'll do is try to rinse some of that silver nitrate off of the jar here and get it down into the silver jar. Alright, here's what our gold is looking like in there. Kind of looks like bronze, doesn't it? I'm going to add some distilled water now to the unquarted gold in the beaker. And we're going to put some nitric acid in right on top of it and continue to dissolve out the silver and base metals that still remains in this gold. We're going to keep adding hot dilute nitric acid to the unquarted gold until we get all of the silver and base metals pulled out of the gold. And we'll be able to tell when that's happened, when the solution stays clear and those fumes do not evolve. Okay, during the editing, I noticed that I was getting a little clipping with the audio, so I pulled the gain back on the mic a little bit. Tried to adjust that a little better, and here's our gold. This has been on the heat now for a couple hours. It's almost boiled down to nothing. This is going to have silver still in this solution, so we're going to pour this off now into our silver jar and collect that blue liquid. It's going to be loaded with silver. I'm going to rinse it out real good here with some distilled water. That should do it for now. Here's our unquarted gold. I'm adding some more distilled water now. And some more nitric acid. Our gold's looking pretty good in here. Let's stir this up a little bit. We're going to reinstall the lid. And then we're going to put it back up on the heat back here and let it continue to react. This will be our third hot dilute nitric acid treatment. We can tell by the lack of fume production in here that this reaction is becoming very close to being complete. We've got just about all of the silver out of here now. I'm going to pour this. This is hot. It's going to have a lot of free nitric in it. And this jar down here, my silver jar, is full of silver now. So I got to be careful how much of this hot nitric I pour on top of here. Otherwise, I could cause this this jar here that I'm pouring the blue solution off to have a runaway reaction. That's as far as I'm going to go with it right there. Now what I'll do is I've rearranged everything in here a little bit. I'm going to push this back out of the way. I've got another silver jar here, spare. This is the first time I've ever had to use 3 silver jars in 2021. So we're going to pour off the rest of this liquid into our silver jar. There's our gold. It's looking pretty good, man. One more rinse with distilled water. You can see those rinses are clearing up nicely for us. Alright, let's get some distilled water on this now. Got a brand new bottle of nitric acid here. We're going to do a 4th nitric acid boil. Alright, we're going to put a lid on this now. Give it a stir. Put it back up on the heat. And let it continue to boil. Alright, I can probably add a little bit more of this nitric solution to our silver jar here. A little bit more, not a whole lot more. Don't want this to boil over. If we put too much nitric in all at once, that jar will boil over on us. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of this liquid now to our silver jar. Alright, this is coming together nicely. Everything's looking real good. Notice that the solution in the beaker has just a tint of blue color to it. That tells me that there's a little bit more silver and base metals that are dissolving out of the gold, but we're getting pretty close to being done here. As you can see, no fume production. It's got a rolling boil going. We're going to pull this down off the heat now and get that acid off of our gold. Here we go. We'll pour this acid off now into this 3rd silver jar that I have set up. Rinse it off with a little distilled water. Oh boy, look at that beautiful brown gold, man. That's just gorgeous. Okay, I've done multiple distilled water rinses. What we'll do now is add some more distilled water to the gold, and then I'm going to add some more nitric again, do a 5th nitric acid boil. Going to cover this up Give it a stir and put it back up on the heat. And this will be nitric acid boil number 5. This final nitric boil has been on now for about 30 minutes. Notice that there's no fume production. The solution is clear. I'm starting to get some steam bubbles forming in there and little steam explosions on the bottom of the beaker. Those are cries for help. So we're going to pull this guy down off the heat now and let him cool down. All right, we're looking real good here. Lack of color in that solution, lack of fumes means that we've got all of the silver and base metals pulled out of there. So now what we're going to do is pour this nitric solution off into a separate container, and we'll save this because this will have tons of free nitric in it that can be used in a future refining. Okay, we've got most of the nitric poured off. What I'm going to do now is rinse our gold with some distilled water. Alright, we're going to pour these rinses off into one of my silver jars here. Take this one, bring it up front. Because the rinse water may contain a little silver or maybe some free nitric. This gold is looking real good, man. This is should make a nice high purity bar for us. About 7 troy ounces is what I'm looking for. Alright, look at this pure gold. That is absolutely gorgeous. The gold in this beaker, just like it is without any further refining, is very close to 3/9 fine, just like it is. What we're going to do is cover this up with some distilled water, and we're going to call it for this portion of the video. This is the recovery phase. Our recovery phase is complete, and what we'll do is in part 2 we'll refine the pure gold with aqua regia and make us a nice big chunky 7 troy ounce pure gold bar. Alright, this will conclude this part of the video. Thanks for watching.